Good evening, everyone. This is Rahul Khandelwal. I am a healthcare HR professional. I would like to welcome all of you for today's session. I am a host and moderator for today's session on Assessment Center Tools and Techniques. We have the eminent speaker, Mr. Harjit Khanduja, with us. Mr. Harjit is Vice President HR for Reliance Jio. He's an international speaker, writer, poet, and visionary, of course, an HR leader. Mr. Harjit has already set out on multiple greenfield projects and has handled HR for large MNCs in various geographies, including India, US, and Canada. His experience spans a range of industry sectors that includes automobile, manufacturing, pharma, alternate energy, IT, telecom, digital healthcare, and retail. And he has worked with the different business houses like Tata, Reliance, and Pramans. He is Thomas Medalist from IIT Roorkee and has completed in management education from NIMS and INSEAD. Mr. Harjit is a certified practitioner of SAP, SCM, Six Sigma, Executive Coaching, OKR, Design Thinking, Predictive Index, Tata Business Excellence Model, etc. He has been conferred with the HR Leadership Award, Pride of Nation Award, HR Personality of the Year, LinkedIn Power Profile, Global Learning Award, and Top 100 Minds and Top 50 Tech HR Leaders. I would like to hand over the session to Mr. Harjit. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us for this session.
Thank you, Rahul, and thank you all for coming on a Sunday. I know it is very difficult to take out time nowadays with so many things going on, especially on a Sunday if you are taking time out. So that makes me more privileged that whatever we are going to talk about in next few minutes, that should be useful to all of you. I will just share my screen. I have prepared a presentation exclusively for this session. And for past 2 days, I have been working on this presentation. I hope you are able to see the screen. If
Yes,
somebody
yes,
can
sir.
confirm it.
Yes, sir. It's confirmed.
Okay.
We are able to see it.
So before we move forward, please give me a huge round of applause. I do that beforehand because afterwards there is no guarantee.
No.
Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Great.
What happened?
So somebody has just wish you as a happy Guru Purnima.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So let's start talking about assessment centers. So I'm going to talk about various aspects of assessment centers, and then we will get into various tools and techniques which Rahul talked about. It is going to be a holistic thing on assessment centers. Let me tell you about my interaction with assessment centers. I have gone through assessment center very early in my life when I was with Tata Motors. Tata Motors used to conduct assessment centers with SHL. So I have been through an assessment center. After that, I have been part of designing an assessment center. And in some cases, I have also been assessor in assessment centers, as well as some of the development centers also I have designed. So I will clarify some of the things like what is assessment, development, what is the difference, those kind of technical issues. One thing I want to tell you, whatever I am going to talk about, it is not that all this material is not available. This is my perspective on assessment centers based on what I have gone through and what they say, what assessment centers are. So in this session, we will try to improve our understanding of the assessment centers. Before we move forward, let me tell you, this is my view of the assessment center, and I am a movie buff. So the presentation has movie references, although no parental guidance will be required for this. Whatever you are trying, please try at your own risk, because I am going to talk about a lot of things. And one thing I want to caution you with is, it should not happen that you try it, because lot of things when you are trying in assessment centers, they have to be in your organization context. If they are not in your organization context, then you will not get the kind of results you are expecting. Another thing, I'm going to talk about a lot of small things in the assessment centers, which you will not find in your textbooks written very clearly. When you go through assessment center or when you sit through assessment center, then only you come to understand those nuances. So we will talk about some of those nuances. So starting with the presentation, this is what I call HR Flex. So let's try to understand, why do we do assessments? And I was thinking, anything we do assessment. Like you would have seen this movie, Sonu Ke T2 Ki Sweetie. So here, a new candidate wants to come in. So one is, the interested party wants to interview and wants to see that who is coming in. And there is another person, which is Sonu, apart from T2, who wants to make sure that the person who is coming in is the right person. And there comes the concept of assessment center, that there are multiple people assessing, and assessing on what? So there has to be a selection criteria. Now, in many cases, we say, oh, there is no selection criteria, but everyone has a selection criteria. In assessment centers, we write that selection criteria. So first baseline is, if you are calling something assessment center, there has to be minimum 2 assessors. Second aspect is, just a second, let me. Okay. Second is, criteria has to be written, more than 2 assessors. Now, how generally it happens in life? If you would have seen Moti Choor Chakna Choor, you will understand that most of the hiring decisions are taken in desperation. This lady was desperate because she wanted to go to foreign. So whosoever was available, whosoever was going foreign, she wanted to marry that person, and this guy was desperate that I need to get married, otherwise my age for marriage will go away. So here you need somebody in the organization, but you don't want to do assessment. You just want to go ahead with any person who is walking on the road, and if the person wants to come in, the person can come in. Afterwards, you get into issues. So that is why assessment is important, so that you get the right person. Now, one thing you would have observed is that whenever a thing like marriage happens, and I am taking reference of marriage in terms of when you are interacting with a candidate. So how does it happen? You generally arrange a panel interview. This is slightly better than the desperation situation. In desperation situation, you don't look at anything. But in case of panel interview, a set of people sit in front of the candidate and ask questions. And you would have seen the kind of questions they ask. Khana banana aata hai. You know how to cook. You know how to sing. So these are the criteria questions which are asked to get married. And same way, there is a checklist with the interview panel which they try to take. Nothing is, there are multiple people sitting in the interview panel and they are trying to take all those things, 1, 2, 3, 4. This assessment method also works, and most of the companies actually go for this assessment method. Then there is another method which generally is used by people to make it more scientific or make it more technical. That is, you go to Panditji and you ask Panditji, can you match Kundali for us? So in corporate language, we say that, can you do psychometric assessment for the candidate? So here you are having a panel interview where opinion of multiple people is coming, and then you are feeding them with extra information that this is the psychometric assessment of the candidate, and this is the psychometric assessment of the job. There are tools like PI which actually help you do profiling for the role as well as profiling for the candidate, and you can see whether the candidate is the right fit for the job or not. So this is another advancement in assessment. Now, this is another thing which has started happening in the society. Earlier, what used to happen is it is a 20-minute interview. Even if it is a panel interview, you quickly take decision and you move forward. And everything is okay. Now, what society has started doing is they have started dating. So in dating, what happens is you don't assess the person one time, you assess the person multiple times. So there are split interviews which you are conducting, and every time you want to see that whether this person is okay or not okay, and you see different aspects of the personality of a person. Many companies do internships or short-term projects or some online assignments with the candidates to understand how a candidate pans out. Now, if you make this whole thing more structured and you want to test whether the person actually matches with the culture, whether the person, whatever the person is saying in the interview, how actually it feels like. This is how it happens. Luka Chippy. So companies get into living with those kind of candidates in terms of projects, and this is a battery of tests which you take. Now, if we further refine this, you will see assessment center is something like this. When you select Miss India or Miss World, specifically say if you're selecting Miss World, it is a structured approach where you have a criteria based on which you have to evaluate a candidate. There are multiple judges who are sitting and evaluating the candidate. Multiple rounds with specific aspects are going on. And at the end, you finalize that which person you are selecting as Miss World. Point is, why you select Miss World with all that criteria? What is the purpose? Purpose is this Miss World has to go across the world to different institutions and ask for charity for various NGOs across the globe. So whether the person will be able to do that job, that's why you would have seen one is ramp walk, and then after that there is a speech that why you want to become Miss World. Both of these competencies are important. Now here I am mentioning the word competency. That is the baseline for assessment centers, and it is not something new. This is happening for quite some time, and if you see, assessment centers are there all across. You would have seen cricket. In cricket, it is an assessment center. When somebody is selected for Team India, they have to play multiple matches. Different assessors go to all these matches. They look at how guys are performing, and based on that, the team sits together and decides who is going to be in Team 11. This is also part of assessment center. So how is it going to be when you are going to play for Team India and representing India and playing with other teams? So what they look at is whether the person is able to perform on similar skills and can be put on what we say in the team for performing. You would have seen Indian Idol also. Now this is another type of assessment center. This is basically evaluating future singers, that who will be able to sing, and they follow the same method, multiple judges, different rounds, in different rounds, different kind of singing. So what they are looking at is a holistic performer, the person who can perform also, the person who can sing also, the person who can sing in different genres also. They have defined that criteria. this is more evolved because what they do is initially they do assessment based on their criteria and everything, and post that they actually expose the participants to the customers, the people who are actually going to listen to these people, and those people vote for them, that who they are liking the most. So this is a far more better version of assessment center, and maybe the assessment centers which we do in corporate are going to move in this direction as the technology evolves. This is how I see assessment centers. So you would have got an idea. The point is, why do we want assessment at all? So first is it sets expectations. So if you take somebody through the assessment center, in assessment center, what you try to do is you try to replicate the environment of the actual field. So if a person goes through a simulated environment, then the person knows, if I have gone through this kind of battery of tests, I should know what is going to come. In fact, let me tell you, the first assessment center was conducted by Germany for selection of the army during World War I. Post that, in World War II, same assessment center, not same assessment center methodology was picked up by United States of America for inducting soldiers as well as civilians for doing covert operations. And that's how it got popularized. And the first company in the world which actually picked it from the army was AT&T, which started using assessment centers. After that, there were many companies like IBM, GE, Carrefour, Air France, which started following assessment centers. And that is how assessment centers have grown. Now, all across the globe, companies use assessment centers. So we were talking about benefits. So first is expectation setting happens. And when the expectation setting happens, what happens is the attrition goes down. The chances of infant attrition go down drastically. And that is one of the advantages of attrition, one of the advantages of assessment center. In fact, why AT&T is quite popular, because AT&T statistically proved during that time when they conducted assessment centers that this is the best way of progressing employees, that employees are going to be successful in their roles. And that is how assessment centers were popular. Third advantage is that it checks capability, that whosoever you are bringing in. So how capability comes into picture is, we are talking about these daddies who are like 60 years plus and they started shooting. Now, when they started shooting, what happened was, it was not the age which became the factor. It was not that they are rustic, they can't speak English, that became the factor. It was not that they are females, that became the factor. It is the capability which came into play. So one of the advantages of assessment centers is, which companies are now becoming very sensitive towards, is that how you are doing with your diversity piece. So that made assessment centers quite popular. Another is that if you are hiring for critical positions, like you would have seen Raji. In Raji, they brought home, it was the home of journals of, I would say, generals of Pakistan Army. They brought somebody who actually destroyed their whole family. So when you are hiring for critical positions, especially the top positions, or the potential people who can occupy those top positions, then it becomes very important that you are selecting the right person for the job. Otherwise, the kind of damage the person can do to your organization is humongous. So that is another reason why assessment centers are very popular for identifying leaders for the organization. Now let's talk about, we have seen loose definition. Now I will talk about the specific criteria. A specific criteria in terms of when we will call an evaluation assessment center or not. Because for different roles we conduct different kinds of assessments. There is a set criteria which has been set by the Assessment Center Council that when will you call any assessment an assessment center. So assessment center is nothing but a series of tests which have to happen for assessing competencies. So they have set 4 criteria. So first is that if you are doing assessment center, then you have to do job analysis. And you must be thinking why I put this photograph of Andhadhun here. One is, this movie was a very complicated movie and was difficult to understand. That is what job analysis is all about. It is very difficult to understand. I am not challenging anyone's IQ. For companies, it is very difficult to decipher that what aspects of the job or what performance parameters or what behaviors of people make them successful in a target job. You will find that there are 2 people, same qualifications, same years of experience. One person is doing good, another person is not doing so good. So job analysis is all about deciphering those observed behaviors which make a person better performer than the other performer. And if you are not doing job analysis, then whatever you're talking about, you're not clear about which job for which I want to put assessment center. What is the differentiating factor for the people, on what competence I am going to evaluate the person on, or say candidates on, then it will not be a assessment center. So assessment center must have job analysis. There should be observed behaviors, and you can call them now the refined word of calling observed behaviors, traits and competencies. So they have started using word competencies. I'm showing you actual assessment center screen for one of the players in the market, which is Zombie, who does assessment centers. Here, why I wanted to show you this screen was, they say add competencies, add behaviors, add traits. So when you do job evaluation, these are the 3 things you are looking for when you're doing job evaluation. If this piece is not there, that means your evaluation method or your assessment method is not assessment center. Second most important aspect of an assessment center is that there should be 2 simulations, minimum 2 simulations. You would have seen Drishyam. So what this guy did was, he wanted to prepare his family for an interrogation. So this family killed a person, and the police was supposed to interrogate them. So what he did was, before interrogation, he created a simulated environment, and he took the entire family through what they are going to ask, so that they go through exactly what they are going to be asked, so that they understand what it is. So when somebody is designing assessment center, there should be minimum 2 simulations. If there are no, if 2 simulations are not there, then it cannot be called an assessment center. Second is that whatever exercises you are defining, or whatever simulations you are defining, well, when you are doing job assessment, you were talking about competencies. So here, for each competency, you need to have 2 exercises. That means each competency must be tested twice. through two different simulations or through two different exercises. So suppose if you are designing an assessment center, you put 5 exercises. In those 5 exercises, there are 2 simulations and there are 3 other exercises, which can be either written test or something like that. Whatever competencies you have defined, say you have defined 5 competencies. So you have to make sure that each competency is tested twice. I will show you. This is how, what they say. This is a site called Assessment for Potential. That is how they recommend that if you're looking for leadership, so you're testing it through role play and you're testing it in an interview also. Or if you're looking for, say, communication and influence, you are checking this particular parameter in 4 different exercises. So this is how you create assessment center competency matrix. That is one of the most important aspects. So in step 1, you looked at what are the competencies. In step 2, you looked at what are the exercises and simulations, and then you mapped both of them, that which exercise is going to give evidence for which competence. And then comes the third most important thing, which is how you are going to assess. An assessment center cannot be called an assessment center if there have to be minimum 2 assessors. If you don't have multiple assessors, then it cannot be called assessment center. As why I put this image, you can see that there are 2 judges sitting. In judiciary, there is a bench of judges which decides. That is something which is close to assessment centers. And the methodology which is followed in judiciary, same methodology is followed in assessment centers, which the methodology is called ORCE. Observe, record, classify, and evaluate. So here, the assessors are not supposed to judge somebody. They are supposed to observe people in simulations. They have to record their observations. Then after recording their observation, they have to classify and they have to evaluate. One important aspect is that judges don't discuss with each other when the evaluation is going on. They evaluate independently. And now I'm going to explain that how this observe, record, classify, and evaluate works. So if you see observe and record, so this is a group exercise which is happening. You just put name of the 4 people, 5 people which are participating in that group exercise. You put competencies which are relevant for that particular exercise. And you ask the observer to record the behaviors, to observe the behaviors and record that in the discussion, what was the evidence or what were the things which were said by the person. Say Barbara said this, which reflects that she is thinking, and this is the competency we are looking at. Once you observe and record, after that you give them a scoring sheet. This is a scoring sheet. So you look at your evidence and then you see where you are going to put that person in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are descriptions which are written. So you classify and evaluate a person on this sheet based on the observations you have collected. So what assessment centers try to do is, they don't ask you to evaluate immediately. What they ask you to do is, they ask you to observe and capture the observations when the activity is going on. They don't want you to evaluate when the activity is going on. Classification and evaluation is done afterwards. And the 4th most important thing in any assessment center, without which assessment center cannot be called assessment center, which is called the integration session or wash-up session, where I put a scene from a movie called Ek Ruka Hua Faisla, where all the jury members have been presented with the facts, and then jury members get together and discuss with each other that what decision which we should give. So all the decision makers which are there in the process, or assessors which are there in the process, they make independent assessment, and after that the discussion happens on competencies, and then the evaluation happens. The decision is taken on statistics. This entire meeting is chaired by a facilitator. So I will come to facilitator when we will discuss about roles in the assessment center. This is another important concept of assessment center, which is that when you are doing assessment center, for each and every competence, you define what is the right rating for this competence. So there is a minimum cutoff for this competence and there is a maximum cutoff for this competence. Like if you see planning and prioritization, if somebody is too high on prioritization, then you can define if somebody is beyond this particular level in this competency, then it is not favorable for the job which we are looking at. So you can define it both ways. You can define a range for a particular job. This is where the competency should lie, should be there. It is not that in all the parameters you have to get 5 out of 5. And if you are lesser than the threshold, then you are completely rejected from the assessment center. So suppose if you have identified 5 competencies, if somebody is average in all the 5 competencies, that person will probably make it through the assessment center. And if a person is below threshold on one competency and is high on all the other competencies, that person might not even be selected for that job. This is another important piece of an assessment center. Now let's talk about roles. I was talking about, we will talk about roles. So what are the roles? You must be thinking why I put Donald Duck. So just because I like Donald Duck, that is why I put Donald Duck in all the categorization slides. You would have seen the Super Dancer. Now, the 3 people who are standing in front of them, in front of you, are assessors. This is a dance show which happens where small kids, they dance in front of these assessors and they give them rating. How we pick assessors, that is something which is very important. So if you see, one person is a dancer, a proper choreographer. One person is an actor and one person is a dancer. Yeah, sorry, one person is a director. All these 3 people are there from the movie industry, which actually looks for this kind of talent. They are not the same, but all of them are hands-on. They understand what dance is all about. It is some kind of touch they have about dance. They are told what is the context and what is the principle of the show. That when you are evaluating participants, this is how you have to evaluate participants. It is, so when you are clarifying to the choreographer, look, it is not only about choreography. And we are looking at the entire package. When you are talking to the actor, you will tell the show is about choreography and these are the things which we have to look for in choreography, because if this skill is not there, even if the person is full package, means even if the person is package, it is not going to do. And same is the perspective of the director, that how this will look on the screen. So that is how you select assessors. And one of the important thing is that you have to train assessors. Second important thing or second important role is facilitator. You would have seen these guys hosting the show. So in any assessment center, you will find there will be people who will be hosting that entire show. Their job is to make sure one is timetable is there. They have to manage the time. If it is a 1 hour episode, it has to finish in 1 hour. Otherwise, assessors can take all the time in the world to decide. Second is they have to make sure that assessors are following rules. Many a times assessors say, no, this guy is so good, this is not right, and my heart is crying, how can this guy go? So these guys come in and they say rules are rules. So you have to take a decision. So that is what the role of a facilitator is. Making timetables or ensuring timetables, and second is ensuring rules. Third thing, you're seeing this is a show of kids. So kids are being assessed by assessors. There is a lady who is actually performing with this kid. She is a role player. She is not getting assessed, but she is supporting or she is enabling this person to perform a particular activity where both of them have to dance together. When both of them dance together, evaluation happens of this person. The other person is just the role player. In assessment centers, what they do is, many a times if you have paucity of people, you can ask one of the facilitators to become a role player, or you can ask one of the assessors to become a role player for some of the candidates. Whosoever is role player never gets into the assessment mode. Role player just plays the role. Assessor assesses the person who is being evaluated, or which we call candidate, the candidate who is being evaluated. And the fourth role is designer. You might not know this person. His name is Ashutosh Golwalkar, not Gavarikar, Ashutosh Golwalkar. He is the designer of the show. So he created this show. He did analysis that what kind of, what is that we are looking for. We are looking for this kind of talent. This is the kind of exercises we will do for identifying this talent. This is how the timetable of the show will be. There will be X number of episodes, and in each episode, we will conduct this one exercise, and this is how we are going to assess people. And once you decide exercises, you actually write those exercises. So these people sit and write. He has a team of his own. Generally, it is a team of 3 or 4 designers. I did not want to confuse you by showing multiple people. There are 4 people in this team which actually created the show. He is the head of them, I assume. Now coming to who and what. Now, this is an important thing, and here I would encourage, in case you can unmute yourself for a while, and we will discuss about few profiles to answer for whom we should conduct the assessment center and what competencies we should check. So you're seeing this person, you know the job role. This is our Swiggy guy who does home delivery. So if you have to check, if you have to hire this guy, what will you check? Anyone, if you want to answer.
One is communication.
Okay.
Is
Second,
driving skill?
ability.
Driving skill?
Driving skill.
Authenticity of a person.
The integrity.
Time
Authenticity
management.
of a person.
Role clarity.
Time management as well.
Knowledge about the
Expertise
region.
in a particular field.
Excellent. So what you are
Maybe
looking for is,
flexibility.
Behavior also.
look, frankly speaking, if you go for any of the companies which does hiring like this, either Swiggy or Uber, what they look at is, like you said, whether the person has driving license or not, whether the person is local or not, so that you know that the person knows that area, and person is having a mobile phone on which the person can do the transactions or not. They also do the background check for all these people, which is called police verification, so that customers are not at risk. These are the 4 things they do for these people. Now, will you conduct an assessment center for this person?
No.
So you're right. We will not conduct assessment center for this person because what you're looking at are hard skills. Police verification, yes, no. Driving license, yes, no. Now let's come to the next role. And this is very interesting. What is this person's job?
Load
He's a loader basically.
Yeah, so you're seeing the airplane and this guy is loader. So what kind of competence you want to test for this person?
Physical fitness.
Excellent. This is physical fitness, whether the person is able to pick up that load or not. Yeah, what else?
focus.
Reading ability.
Maybe going in details of physical fitness, his audiometry test, because he will
Yeah.
be posted at a sensitive location.
Age.
Accuracy.
His reading ability.
Look, if you see, this guy is wearing headphones. So that is one thing, whether the person is able to. Why this person is wearing headphones?
Noise cancellation for the turbine.
This
Eyes,
is noise
high
cancellation.
noise area.
To avoid Indian noise.
So frankly speaking, for this person, what you are looking at is this person is able to follow instructions and this person is able to carry load. You actually don't have to do too many cognitive tests for this kind of a profile. What you need to do is a physical check, fitness check. Like most of the stacking people in supermarkets, the way they do tests is they don't take them through an aptitude test or a bulky set of tests. What they ask them is, can you pick this material and put it on a rack or not? So if the person is able to put that material on a rack, is able to handle the load and is able to read what is written on the products, that if I tell you from here to there, what is the aisle number, which is the product, if you are able to understand that, I'm done. Will you do assessment center for this?
No.
Not required.
Not required.
Not required.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, great.
But you can send the person to a gym and watch and take a report after 7 days.
Look, what they look for is any company, they can do physical fitness test. So you can actually send it to doctor and say whether the person can do it or not. But there is cost involved. So what you do is you actually ask people to do something in front of you. Once you're convinced, then because people want to take quick decisions in these kind of roles, and when you have to take quick decisions, you have to design your assessments in that manner. I believe somewhere bell is ringing. If that person can mute, that will help. Okay, you're seeing a cashier in front of your eyes. So what are the competencies for this person?
For the cashier,
Should be polite,
Numerical ability.
Excellent.
more
Numerical
focused towards
ability.
customer, computer
Customer
skill,
orientation.
Selling
Right.
skill.
Numerical ability.
communication,
Digital competency.
Right?
Servicing aptitude.
Very
Addition,
good.
subtraction.
All of you are right. So what you are looking at is
Maybe
mathematics.
knowing more than one language will be an advantage.
That can also be an advantage. That's
Bit of knowledge of products also.
knowledge of products is very important, but that can be taught when you are bringing somebody in. So the person is able to read, write. The person is absolutely very good at numbers. The person is good at technology in terms of swiping cards, taking payment, because that is what you want the person to do. And there is a bit of customer handling involved, that how you interact with the customer. Now you pay more attention in hiring this kind of a person, but still you are quickly able to identify competencies. So here, will you conduct an assessment center?
Yes, because it's a progressive role.
So here the answer is maybe.
Maybe.
Why maybe? Because the cost of conducting assessment center, would you like to invest that much money in conducting assessment center? Or maybe you can design a battery of tests in such a manner that you can get things practically done and see whether you're hiring the right person or not. Now coming to the next role.
No.
Let me just finish, then we will come to the question answer session, right? Just park your question, write it somewhere. I will answer your questions. If you have to look at a CEO profile or a profile which is like loosely defined, like direct reports of CEO or a CEO itself, tell me what would be a competence for this guy?
Business acumen,
Leadership,
leadership
Yeah.
development, team engagement,
industry knowledge,
decision making,
problem solving,
Right,
Age management.
people handling.
Orientation.
right. Now all these competencies you are coming up with, just see, for this role, the competencies were very clear in terms of you can put a mathematics test and you can actually evaluate. In this case, it is slightly more complex and complicated. And just by doing certain exercises, you will not be able to assure that you are finding the right person. That is why boards take too much care in finding these kind of positions, or if you're creating pipeline, succession pipeline for the leadership roles, that is where people want to conduct assessment centers. That is where the real money lies. And maybe the maybe which is coming for the cashier, you can do with the a simple test, but here you must definitely invest in assessment centers for the better future of the company. Now let me take you through the typical exercises which generally people use for assessing, especially these kind of roles, which are like CEO kind of roles or the potential successor to the top management roles. So what are the typical tests which companies conduct? I have taken this from the metal site. So why I'm showing this to you, I'm showing you all the movie posters, and you must be thinking, is there a theory behind it or not? So I just want to assure you that, look, that is a way of presentation. The whole presentation is based on the hard facts. I'm not going to take you through this. This slide is good, but it is difficult to read. So one basic thing is assessments. When you ask somebody to write something or take the test online, so when you are checking domain knowledge, functional knowledge, cognitive ability, or there is something called personality test you are taking, or a psychometric test you are taking, or SBJTs you are conducting, which is situation-based judgment tests. These are the new way of replacing, say, personality-based tests. So one is these kind of assessments, which can happen with pen or paper, or which can happen on computer also. Now, second aspect is presentation. Like most of these jobs you would see, they involve meeting customers, having meeting with your direct reports who are running the company. You are having meetings with the board members. So whether you are able to present in such a manner that people are not playing cards or sleeping in your presentation and you are able to make your point. Another is group discussion. Here, as you can see, this is the activity to ensure that how respectful you are. When you are talking about values, you can actually see group interaction, how you're going to treat your people, how you're going to treat peers. and how you will perform in a group situation. Because at the top level, when you are looking at most of the organizations are organizations because they are able to bring together people so that they can work together. Competence of or the knowledge body of multiple people is much better than knowledge body of one person. So that is the concept companies work on. So group discussions or group exercises or group activity is important. Another important thing which typical assessment centers use is called probing. So here, when you are designing this kind of exercise, the panel knows or the other person knows about the entire information, about the entire story. You have to ask relevant questions because that is what most of the jobs involve, most of the senior level jobs involve, that how do you collect information by asking relevant questions. And especially in the age of Google, where all the knowledge is available, it totally depends upon how good you are at questioning or probing. So this is one of the tests which most of the assessment centers try to include when they are doing job evaluation. Another is case analysis. So you give a case and then you want people to analyze that case and come up with recommendations. So cases can be of multiple types that generally they are not too long. You give 1 page of information and then ask people to come up with their analysis that how they will. I will give you an example of a case that there is a company which is producing pagers and there are new companies which are looking into mobile technology. So what should be the strategy of this pager company? And different people come up with different kind of strategies. You also give some kind of data also for them to do research and analysis to come up with how they support their story with facts and figures. You would have seen this movie. This is Bruce Almighty. So this is very popular exercise called In Basket. In Bruce Almighty, what happens is this guy meets God and God tells the person, hey man, now you are the God and people are going to send prayers to you. So when people are sending prayers, this person gets a lot of prayers on the screen and he has to make decisions. That is what the problem with CEOs is. They have to make decisions. And that is why in basket exercise or the case simulator, which you do, that becomes very important. And that is what he is doing. You ask people to prioritize and give decisions on certain set of emails. Another is role play. This is generally one-to-one where you are actually playing with role player. And you can see, hello, main Pooja bol rahi hu. There is somebody who assesses how well you play Pooja. Now, when to conduct? Actually, the assessment center history goes long back. Bhagwan Shri Ram did Swamvar. In Swamvars, there were tasks and you have to complete those tasks to get inducted in the family. So whenever selection happens, it happens with some exercises. You talk about Draupadi's Swamvar or you talk about Sita's Swamvar. So it has been happening for quite some time. Time and cost we discussed, and it happens for queens. It was not happening for everyone. That is why I was saying it should happen for your top positions. That is how Swamvars happen. Second is, if you have to choose between successors, then you do assessment centers. Now, how to implement? So most of the part we have already discussed. I will just put it differently. This is, if you remember, Mission Mangal. This was the Mission Mangal office. So if you want to implement assessment centers in your organization, first thing you have to come up with the policy. For policy, you have to define what is the purpose, why I want to conduct assessment center, what is the target role for which I want to conduct, who is going to be assessor, what are going to be the assessments, and you put that entire piece in the policy. That is how you start. After that, when you get the team together, then you start developing. So you do job analysis, you define simulations, you design simulations, you conduct training of assessors. That is the entire development phase. You ask candidates, you pick up candidates who you think meet the criteria, and then you actually conduct the assessment center. You do implementation. Here they had no scope of doing pilot. Generally, you do pilot, you run it, and at the end of it, you launch it, you decide that yes or no, and after that, there is monitoring that how is your assessment center doing. And fairness is one thing which you actually evaluate assessment centers on, and how these people who have been selected through assessment centers have been doing. There are typically 2-3 types of assessment centers. So this is a new term which has come in. You would have seen Jumanji, Welcome to Jungle. So these are called virtual assessment centers, which you do on a virtual platform. And then there are actually physical assessment centers. Right now, what you're seeing is, this is the Army training camp. This is not the assessment center. This is the development center. Now, the difference between development center and assessment center is, an assessment center, there is an observer, there is an assessor. In development center, there will be an observer, which is equivalent of the assessor. In assessment center, you will call candidate a candidate. In development center, you will call candidate a participant. In assessment center, there will be pass and fail. In development center, there will be a development plan. That is the typical difference between assessment center and development center. This is how Metal says that you classify the tools. When you do virtual assessment center, you generally use all the things which are available on computer. Most of the virtual assessment companies give you these tools. Then you have blended assessment centers which give you all kinds of tools. And then you have assessment center, development centers, which actually take you through offline tools. So most of the companies go for this blended approach. In time of COVID, like most of these things you are seeing here, they now happen on Zoom, and blended is going to be the way of the future. Although many companies are selling virtual assessment centers. Who can help? These are the companies which have been in this business. So one is BTS. BTS is again in Europe, assessment centers and development centers are very popular. BTS has done significant amount of good job in this area. Zombie is an Indian company which is a very good company in terms of assessment center. Look, why you call a company a good company or a bad company? Whether the company understands, they have set of people who understand psychoanalysis and psychology. So all these companies have psychologists and they understand assessments, how assessments need to be done. That is why they are there. Metal is a Mercer company. Then SHL has been doing this. So the first assessment center I went through as a participant, it was a SHL assessment center. Then SciRecruit is a company, and Knowledgescape is also a company. I believe that's it. That's what I have to say. In case you have any questions, I will be happy to answer those questions.
So questions can be asked through voice, or we can write our question on chat box.
You can ask through the voice also. There's no problem in that.
Wow.
Just open your video so that we can interact in a good way. Guys, I'll request to everyone, please on your video option, please.
Hi Rahul, good to see you.
Hi sir. Yeah, please. Please ask your question, please. So there's a
usually,
question. Yeah, please.
so usually I don't see many mediocre organizations doing these assessment centers. Even I have been working with the great organizations there I have seen, but at the same time I have been working with the smaller organization. This concept is not very much prevailing into the India. What could be the reasons behind it?
Look, one is it is a costly affair. So if you see, organizations have a stage of maturity. When an organization gets formed, they are struggling to find their place. After the organization grows and comes to a significant level, and when they get into a problem of finding new leaders, and they want to run it like a professional organization, then what they do is they want to create a set of leaders who are going to take those positions rather than hiring the talent from outside. Even if they are hiring the talent from outside, they don't want to do it just based on interviews. And that is when they bring in assessment centers. Another, like if you see company like GE, when they brought assessment centers, they brought assessment centers to make sure that there are too many people in the pipeline. So if there are 10 people, they take them through assessment center, and then they come to a view that, okay, these are the 3 successors. So when your succession planning is very strong, when you are in that phase of maturity, and when you are looking at that you need more leaders for expanding, you cannot do it alone. So any owner who thinks I can do it alone will never go for assessment center. And there has to be full ownership of the owner to buy into assessment center that I want to create a leadership pipeline for me, because I am getting into 10 more businesses or 10 more areas, and I need people for those businesses, and I just don't want to give it to anyone. So that is when you get into this kind of exercise. Now with virtual assessment center, what is coming in for middle level managers, you have also started using, because these are less costlier. So right now, after 100 years, again, we are talking about assessment centers is because slightly the cost has come down, and for most of the roles, HR people have become smarter, like that loading role. For that loading role, people don't conduct those kind of tests. Instead of conducting tests, they ask people to do physical activity. In fact, when the content managers you hire, they don't take interviews only, they ask you to submit content. Or if you would have seen the way GitHub has come up, tech companies say, show me what you have done in projects. Or designers have to show their portfolio, because people want to see work to believe you rather than deciding in a matter of 20 minutes interview.
Correct. Harjeet, not question, actually it's an experience which I want to share it with you.
Sure.
One is for a great organization I have been working for. Another is for a educational institute. So since I visit many in educational institute to train the students on the employability skills. So I will first take that organization's case study. In fact, that organization was actually grown up, and in between I joined that company. And there I suggested to go for assessment centers. It took me almost 2.5 years to convince my top management, but during that time, due to project stage, we have recruited many people. Now, once I got through with the proposal, I just started implementing assessment centers. So we found many, competency gap in between.
Right.
After doing this assessment center. Now, then there was a question that how we are going to bring them to the level of the competency required.
Right.
That took me, that was a hell of the task for me, because the entire stuff means the tolerance limit, we decided somewhere 70%, and the candidate, the employees had almost 30%, 40%. So then I had to deposit 5-year plans for training identification, and then on blah blah blah. So means even today also, I didn't get a proper answer to it. So I thought this could be a right forum. And the other case study which I want to share it with you, since I teach students on skills.
Manoj, your voice is breaking.
Hello.
We all know the kind of plan which I have suggested to one of the known lead colleges.
But you are not audible.
MBAs or technology people, technology from the colleges. So there was a center for the students on employability fusion. Now,
Amit, you are not audible. Can you please be loud? Hello.
There are the two case studies which I had. I thought was
So I believe Amit is disconnected actually. So there's a question from Poonam. Can you please elaborate more on blended approach?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
I have a question on the assessment center, like the other colleague of mine asked. I just wanted to know that, like we said, the outcome of the assessment center would be what needs to be done. Like if it is for succession planning, so do we have to make, if they are not up to the mark currently for the next role, which we are assessing them for, so is there an option of designing a plan to bridge the gaps, or how does it work?
Yeah, so look, what you get is at the end of the assessment center, this is a humongous exercise even for assessors. So you have to give feedback to each and every person that these are the competency gaps, and on what basis we are saying these are the competency gaps. You have to give evidences of those competency gaps, and once the person gets those gaps, you have to handhold those people in bridging those competency gaps. Look, that is why you do assessment centers. Unless there is a commitment from the management side, say for investing in these people, then it doesn't work. So when you do, especially for the guys whom you are hiring as a potential talent. So when I said potential talent, so you're not directly making them CEOs. Especially you see the old legacy companies who have people who are there in the bracket of say 50 to 60 years. What they try to do is they try to pick up some young people who have spent say 5-6 years in the organization. So they understand the culture. They want to promote those people out of turn, and they want to create a pool who are going to take those future positions. So you know that these people understand my culture, whether they have those critical skills to come to that pool so that tomorrow I can give them responsibility of a department or not.
So in a way, can we say for even high potentials, we can do this?
Right.
High potential, like you just mentioned for past.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you identify high potentials for senior positions, you actually prepare a plan where you say that I'm going to rotate these people in multiple departments so that they get cross-functional exposure, or I'm going to send them to certain institute for, say, if the person is not cutting through in finance, so I want to give in-depth knowledge of finance to this person, or this person I'm going to put for another 6 months or 1 year on a role which is customer facing. So it is like which people you are ready to bet on. So when you're conducting an assessment center, you have to plan, like Amit was saying, you have to plan that what is going to be my next 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plan. Otherwise, you don't conduct assessment centers.
Okay, and you spoke of development center, so
Right.
which was a very small bit of it, but where do you use the development center then, and when to use the assessment center? Like
When you are doing selection, so you get into assessment centers. So suppose many companies have started using assessment centers in the campus interviews. A smaller version of assessment center. So that is one use of assessment center. Development center, you generally pick up. Suppose you conduct assessment center, you have defined a criteria that I am
maybe
going
for
to create.
roles in the existing roles in the organization, maybe
Yeah.
for example, you can take.
Yeah, let me come to that. So what you do is, suppose you conduct an assessment center and you have defined a criteria. This is the kind of people I am going to pick up based on assessment center. If everyone fails the assessment center, then you know that my people are not up to the mark. Then you swiftly move to development centers so that when you conduct assessment centers, people are able to qualify for that. So development center is more of an approach to make your organization ready for assessment centers.
And again, people who have not qualified in the assessment centers can be, like for bridging the gaps, what we spoke a while back, can again be used through the development centers. If my understanding is right.
Right.
Okay.
So what you generally do is, suppose you know that there are certain gaps in the organization. After conducting an assessment center, you have selected nobody. So everyone will say you have invested so much money and you have not selected even a person. What is the point of conducting an assessment center? Then you get into development centers and you figure out what are the major gaps in the target population you are looking at. Whether job rotation is required, whether everyone needs to be primed on finance. So you come up with organizational interventions along with the development center you are conducting. So development center gives you huge amount of data on the basis of which you can act.
Hi, Harjeet.
Hi. Hi, Abhishek.
I had a question. I mean, more than a question, it's a point of view that I want to ask. Now that virtual assessments have come into picture compared to the traditional assessments, so traditional assessments had more of a human touch and a assessor viewpoint when the activities were carried out. But when you look at the virtual assessments, it's more online driven, and the assessor involvement does reduce. And the assessor bias, that was the major issue of a traditional assessment, goes down significantly. So do you think that the virtual assessment is now the right way to go compared to the major issue of the assessor bias that it takes away? Or we still credit the traditional assessment types? Like,
the idea is assessment centers were itself introduced to take away the bias.
right.
What virtual assessment centers are trying to do is they are trying to reduce the cost. If you are using something to, if you're using something for leadership or for important roles or creating hypos, and you have a structured program, then you should go for a full-fledged assessment center. If you are using, if you want to use, say, multiple tools for assessing a profile, say for a profile of a cashier, if you want to use an assessment center, virtual assessment center, go for it. Or for a managerial tool, for managerial positions which are slightly, which are not clearly defined in terms of domain and competency, and there is some gray area, there you can use virtual assessment centers to further refine it. Where some routine decision making is required, virtual assessment centers can help. But if you're doing for leadership, go for full-fledged assessment centers. That is the right way to go for it.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
Manoj. Good evening.
Good evening. Sir,
Good evening.
I do have one query basically. I heard about the predictive analysis, rapid grid analysis, and criterion reference. So,
Pardon?
would like to have some few terminology related with the predictive analysis, rapid grid analysis, reliability, content test, and these terminology generally used in during the cybermetric testing. So, would like to have a few more insights from your side, sir.
Look, the way I have covered this whole subject is I have taken you through, say, 5,000 square feet level. If we get into, say, job analysis is in itself a project, a huge subject in itself. And if you get into job analysis, that takes a lot of time. And when you get into designing tests and writing tests, that itself is a huge subject. So all these technical terms are fine. What I wanted to make sure that you understand that these are the nuances of the assessment centers. If we want to get into, say, detailing of these terms, we can get into detailing of these terms, but then we should have, say, a specific session for that, because it will be very difficult for me if I open up a particular subject. It will require that much detailing. I hope at least you guys have got a sense of what is assessment center and what is not assessment center.
So, would you, if you do have like the author name, would request to suggest that I may oppose on this. Any author, sir, for the same? Any writer, sir, any writer name? Would you suggest any writer?
You would like to know about the book or a writer who can write about the assessment center?
Look, I am not a great fan of books, so I will not be able to suggest books. In fact, I have not read too many books on assessment centers. My whole experience has been hands-on or the manuals of these organizations. Like I have seen, I have studied, if you want to go through assessment center literature, a lot of it is available on BTS site. Go through it. BTS site has a very good 32-page literature on how to design assessment centers, and it talks about a lot of nuances of the assessment centers, which is one of the good areas. Another is you can go through the sites of these 6 companies I talked about. Metal site is very good. Zombie site is very good. BTS site is very good. They will give you the practical gist of how things are done. I have not gone through any book, so I am into movies, I am into serials, stories. Although I am writing a book, but sorry for not being able to answer your question on this.
Sir, I have a last question.
Yes, Supriya,
Yeah,
please.
please.
I have one more question. Am I audible?
Yeah, Supreme.
So I just wanted to check for assessment center, like we spoke about, that it's a heavy cost and the whole thing to be designed and executed in the organization. And the organization I am working with is a role-based organization. So
Excellent.
if we design a or assessment center, then we could do it across all the roles in the organization. Am I right in the understanding? Because once
I
we have
would,
designed it,
like there was a portion when we were discussing about certain rules that
yeah,
will you do assessment center for a delivery boy, and all of you said no. So you will have to look at role by role basis for which roles you want to. Look, it has to be ROI. The whole assessment center concept was based on ROI, that if you invest this much of executive time, then are you getting return on investment or not?
okay.
So look at what are the roles you want to conduct it for. Otherwise, what you can do is you can tweak the way you are doing assessments. Don't make it only written test, group discussion, and interview. See where written test is required, see where group discussion is required, see where you can create a simulation of the actual job and give those exercises to the person who is coming to you for selection. Like if I have to select for any of my positions, I see what is the job content and I give an exercise to that person that do this exercise for me, and based on that I will decide. One is you get to know whether the person is interested or not, and second is if you see the quality of output, you understand. So this is less costly and gives you better results. You don't have to get into the core of the definition for conducting assessment centers. If you are able to practically use this portion also, this will give you good ROI the way you are hiring people, and you will see that reflection in your attrition.
Yeah. So you're saying basically to design the assessment relevant to the roles.
Sorry, I did not follow.
I'm saying you are suggesting that the assessments have to be selected relevant to the role.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely right.
And we spoke of one more aspect of minimum and maximum threshold. And
Right.
where we said if below the threshold, then definitely the person doesn't qualify in the assessment centers. So for certain roles, if the competencies, like we have professional, behavioral and technical competencies defined. So
Right.
Would that be organization defined, or there is an industry benchmark for those threshold of competencies for minimum and maximum?
Look, you define competencies for your organization. Don't even get into say benchmarking with the industry, because look, you are a unique company because you are doing things in a certain manner, and that is why you are earning revenue. If you start copying somebody, like all these exercises which I showed you, you should write exercises for your company in your context rather than using a standard thing. Look, why people use a standard thing? Because of validation that what you are putting is that understandable. So in case you have a psychologist in your company or somebody who has done tests, who understand that how tests are valid, how test validity is checked. So make sure that person goes through your tests, language at least 3-4 people check. Then get into these kind of exercises.
There's a question from Satya Lakshmi. How can we use the assessment center in the public sector, where there's only 3 aspects they have: written test, interview, and where rarely is group discussion?
Frankly speaking, somebody from the HR will have to stand up and talk to the leadership. Otherwise, this is the standard way most of the companies hire. Traditionally, till the time technology had creeped in, all the people were hiring based on this, and this is one of the most reliable methodology we have seen. After technology coming in, lot of new aspects have started coming to the job. And second is, when you follow this methodology, the disadvantage of this methodology is that there is a bias or a discrimination which is done by the interviewer. And second is, it doesn't give any kind of simulation to the person. The person doesn't get to work in the simulated environment. So you will have to talk to somebody and get this included in the process. If you get this included in the process, then maybe it will change for the entire public sector. And I've seen public sector companies also getting into this mode. In fact, they have more appetite nowadays for getting into these kind of exercises. It is just a matter of convincing the top man for doing that.
So there's a question from Mr. Yogendra. Can assessment center may be a part of a PMS, or it's a development center part of PMS?
Look, let's keep PMS separate from this whole piece. In PMS, you are basically looking at performance of the person. Here, what you are talking about is the potential of the person, so to say. So, generally, the people who are performing well, you see them as potential. The consistent performers, you want to take them out from the job and see what they're doing right. And based on that, you try to develop more and more people for those kind of positions, those kind of traits, those kind of competencies. So PMS can be an input for developing an assessment center, but attaching assessment center to PMS is going to be a very costly affair. Not recommended.
Any other question, please? Any other question? I believe, sir, we have done with the Q&A.
Okay, that's great.
So thank you so much for, sir. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Guru Purnima, sir.
Thank you. And thank you, all of you. Happy Guru Purnima to all of you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here for this great learning session. Thank you again, once again, sir, for this great insight on assessment center. We would like to invite you for another session very soon. I believe there's a question. Can you please elaborate on more on blended approach? I believe Poonam is asking the last question. Can you please elaborate on blended approach?
Look, blended approach is the actual approach for conducting assessment centers in development centers. It is just because of technology. They say whatever can be conducted on a screen, that is virtual. Whatever can be conducted outside a virtual screen, that is the AC/DC, and blended approach is taking care of the blended approach plus the blended approach is taking care of the virtual assessment center plus the things which you can do in the physical manner. Look, with Zoom coming in, this difference is not going to be there. So in whatever we are talking about in blended approach, there is not going to be anything physical. You can do group discussion on Zoom platform also. You can do case study presentation on Zoom also. The business has changed after COVID. So assessment centers are also going to change, and whatever blended approach we are talking about, that is going to prevail.
Harjeet, can I know a little more about in-basket technique?
Okay. So in-basket is basically a tool where you actually take a list of say around 90 mails, and you can define those mails based on the kind of job you are going to give that person, or a representative job which you are going to give that person. What the person has to do in InBasket is the person has to go through all the mails in the duration. You can define 45 minutes or 1 hour. You can give that much time, that there is 1 minute for each and every mail which you are putting forward. The person has to go through all those mails, letters, and one is take decision on each and every mail. Second is the person has to prioritize those mails. Basically, what you see in this is, if you see any top management job, everyone gets 400 to 450 mails a day.
Agreed.
So whether you are able to quickly go through your mails, whatever is like कहते हैं ना घुन में से गेहूं निकालना. So whatever is ghun, you take that out. Are you able to find out what are the significant mails which you should be focusing on? Take decisions on those things. Whether you are able to take decisions or not, that is what you try to check. And second is whether you are able to prioritize those things or not. So that is about InBasket. You can design it in many ways. Like this is how industry has been doing it, or the companies which recommend assessment centers or design assessment centers, they have been doing it. When you are designing your own assessment center, you can actually look at the job, and if there are few more parameters which are important, you can embed those parameters also in this exercise.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks again, once again, sir. Thank you, everyone. We are just closing the session. Thank you so much, sir, for being here.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you all. It was a fun session.
Thank you, Harjeet. It was a great session.
And Rahul.
Thank you, Rahul. Thanks so much.
Been
Thanks,
great
Rahul.
lesson.
Thanks, Arjit. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.